Uwe siqu sakho bayede psychologically even emotionally zonke lezi inkinga ezithinta isihlalo kuze kuzofika isikhathi la ubayede ebekwa khona. Would you say you have recovered from that?
New day, new drama in South Africa. According to new reports, King Misuzulu rumored to have cried out as budget allocated for Reed dance was stolen. Please like this video as you watch. For generations, the Umkosi Wumlanga, commonly known as the Reed dance, has stood as a glowing cultural jewel of the Zulu nation. It is a sacred gathering where thousands of maidens from across South Africa, Eswatini, and even parts of Mozambique and Botswana unite in celebration of heritage, purity, and tradition. Every year, this spectacle not only draws the attention of Zulu communities but also attracts dignitaries, government officials, and cultural enthusiasts from across the world. Yet in 2025, a storm has cast its shadow over the event. Whispers from within the royal household allege that King Misuzulu Zwelithini, son of the late King Goodwill Zwelithini, was reduced to tears of frustration and sorrow after discovering that the money set aside for the Reed dance had allegedly been stolen. The revelation has shaken not only the royal family but also the wider Zulu community, igniting discussions about corruption, cultural erosion, and betrayal at the highest levels. The Reed dance is not merely a spectacle of color and tradition. Its roots go deep into Zulu history, serving as a platform to celebrate womanhood, encourage chastity among young maidens, and promote unity between the monarch and his people. During the ceremony, tens of thousands of young women cut and carry reeds to the palace as a symbolic offering of respect to their king and as a way of reinforcing moral values. For King Misuzulu, this year's event carried even more significance. With his reign still being contested by factions within the royal family, he viewed the ceremony as an opportunity to strengthen his bond with the nation, project his authority, and showcase his commitment to cultural preservation. Thousands of participants had already registered, with estimates suggesting over 40,000 maidens were expected to march with their reeds at the royal palace in Ngoma. Preparations for such a grand occasion require extensive funding, covering everything from transportation and accommodation for maidens, to food, traditional attire, security, and stage management. Government departments, cultural organizations, and private donors reportedly pooled together a large budget to ensure the success of the festival. However, according to sources close to the palace, the funds mysteriously disappeared before the event could be fully executed. When news of this alleged theft reached the king, insiders say he was devastated. Far from being a mere financial inconvenience, the loss struck at the heart of his responsibility to safeguard Zulu heritage. It was painful for His Majesty, one source revealed. This was not about money. It was about the dignity of his people. To hear that individuals entrusted with such a sacred duty could allow greed to overshadow tradition left him heartbroken. King Misuzulu, known for his deep attachment to Zulu customs, is rumored to have cried out in anguish upon learning of the betrayal. This incident is said to have compounded the heavy burdens already weighing on his reign, including family disputes over succession, political interference in royal matters, and public scrutiny over his leadership. For the king, the Reed dance is more than an annual festival. It is a living bond between him and the nation. To witness the integrity of that bond compromised by missing funds was, according to insiders, an emotional blow too heavy to carry in silence. The disappearance of the budget has not only embarrassed the royal household, but also stirred anger among traditional leaders, parents, and cultural activists. Many view this as a dangerous sign of how deeply corruption has seeped into the fabric of society, even into spaces once considered sacred. The scandal has sparked debates over how cultural funds are managed, with some calling for independent oversight to prevent future theft. Others worry that this incident might discourage sponsors from supporting cultural programs in the future, thereby leaving heritage events vulnerable to collapse. Beyond the theft itself, many suspect political undertones. Since his coronation, King Misuzulu's reign has been marked by intense family rivalries and external political pressure. Some analysts argue that the disappearance of funds could be part of a deliberate attempt to humiliate him, undermine his credibility, and weaken his symbolic power. The Reed dance often doubles as a political stage, with ministers and local leaders using the event to show support for the monarchy. A poorly executed or diminished festival could therefore damage the king's public standing at a critical moment in his leadership. For the thousands of young women preparing for the reed dance, the alleged budget theft was disheartening. Many of them had rehearsed for months, gathering reeds, sewing traditional attire, and preparing to represent their families with pride. Now, they face uncertainty over whether the ceremony will unfold with its usual grandeur. Parents, too, have voiced outrage. For rural families, the event is not only cultural, but also symbolic of moral education and community unity. To hear that the funds meant to support their daughters were stolen has left many questioning whether the youth are being taught values of honesty and respect, or whether they are simply witnessing the erosion of morality at the highest levels. Civil society organizations, cultural watchdogs, and even some political voices have demanded that the matter be fully investigated. They argue that whoever is responsible for the missing funds must be brought to justice, regardless of their status or connections. Culture cannot be held hostage by corruption, one activist declared. We must ensure that those entrusted with our heritage are accountable to the people. This is not only about money. It is about protecting the soul of the nation. Despite his rumored heartbreak, King Misuzulu is said to be determined not to allow the scandal to derail the reed dance entirely. Reports suggest that he has instructed his advisors to salvage what remains of the budget and seek emergency support to ensure the event still takes place. His Majesty understands that the reed dance must go on, even under difficult circumstances, said a palace insider. He believes that canceling it would hand victory to those who seek to destroy our traditions. The dance is not about luxury. It is about resilience, culture, and identity. The incident has become a defining moment in King Misuzulu's reign. His handling of this crisis will likely influence how he is remembered in history, whether as a monarch who was weakened by corruption or as a leader who stood tall in defense of tradition against betrayal. The reed dance, though overshadowed by scandal, will undoubtedly proceed in some form. For the Zulu people, it is more than an event. It is a declaration that their culture cannot be stolen, no matter how much money goes missing. The alleged theft of the reed dance budget is more than a financial scandal. It is a test of the strength of cultural identity in a society increasingly plagued by corruption. For King Misuzulu, the tears he is rumored to have shed reflect not weakness, but the weight of responsibility carried by a leader bound to his people through tradition.